This is an image from Games for Change. In other words, this is what the current industry insiders believe about video games. And if you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. It says that video games cater to the privileged white male gamer, but Japan is the second biggest creator of video games. Like, what do they have with the white male gamer? And then it's like, it moves into misogyny. Like, why would a man hate a woman that shares his hobby? That is a recipe for a relationship. That is how love blossoms. Like, what does it have to do with misogyny? And then it talks about Gamergate. Like, what is this? You know, wasn't this like 6 years ago? Like, what on earth are these people smoking? Normalizing extremist discourse and ideology. Like, what? Like, radical Islam? Like, what is going on here? You know, extremist evangel... Like, we're talking about video games. What on earth is going on? So, what they're actually talking about is that every single space that isn't moderated is not a far left space. Okay, like the far left radical ideology cannot exist without moderation. And this is what they mean by industry diversity. Like, most people thought that diversity means diversity of ideas. Like, you have someone from the countryside and you have someone from the city, and they have different lived experiences, so they can actually come up with different solutions for the same problem using their previous background. But in reality, that's not what they mean by diversity. Now, other people would say, but diversity of skin color, right? Like the genetics, the pedigree, the heritage of a person gives them different understanding. This is not what they mean either. What they mean by industry diversity is ideologues, apparatchiks, the HR lady. Like, they can have an army of HR ladies that are white, and that they would still consider to be diversity. But if they have an army of black people that are like Kanye West, then they do not consider that to be authentic. So basically, this person showing this is probably the HR lady trying to justify her position. Like, these people are being like vampires on the industry. They're sucking the profits, and they're moving the industry away from what it's supposed to do, which is to make video games. And I'll make a stream where I actually talk about how Xbox is planning to hire psychologists in trying to manipulate and subvert gamers on how to think, rather than create entertaining games. So, again, what they are saying is that without strong moderation, you are going to have people freely talking to each other, which empowers people in order to stand up to the ideologues. So, Gamergate, I can't believe we're talking about this 6 years after. The reason it was so popular and so successful is that the left and the right joined forces against the corporate press. That's what Gamergate is. It was a sex scandal which got a lot of censorship involved. Like, people weren't allowed to talk about the sex scandal because the allegation it was a female game developer which had sex with a game journalist, with many game journalists actually. Some of them were married. And because of that, there was censorship. And the game journalists started publishing articles hating the gamers. So now you have Tumblr and 4chan working hand in hand against the industry. And it was very effective. So basically what they're saying, without strong moderation, we end up with consumer revolts. And consumer revolts end up with people discussing against far-left ideology. So if people start talking against far-left ideology, then they can become right-wing. Because all of these moderators, they're on the same political ideology. You know, they call it diversity, but it's a monoculture. Like, there is no diversity. It's just uniformity of thought. And this is what these people try to ensure. They want uniformity of thought so that you have all of these things. And they benefit by making money. I mean, you think about it this way, right? Like, you have a gaming company. What does a gaming company need? Well, it needs a legal department. It needs people who know how to code. It needs artists. It needs all these people. What it doesn't need is apparatchiks. So the apparatchiks, they need to justify why they should be hired, why they should be paid more than an artist, or a person that codes. And in order to do that, they're like, oh, well, we're going to fix up the misogyny, which they never explain why exactly does it even exist. Like, why does misogyny exist? Again, I don't understand, like, why men would be upset at women playing video games. Like, if a man likes football and he finds out another woman that also likes football, like, why wouldn't that result in them sharing common interests and actually having things in common means that romance is possible? And of course, you know, the problem is like mainstream games soft sell white supremacy. So what they want is mainstream games to soft sell far left extremist ideology, to justify why you need to have more of these apparatchiks. It's a self-fulfilling circle, right? Like what they accuse others of doing is what they are doing themselves. In other words, like hire far leftist ideologues in order to privilege far leftist groups, which is going to create a backlash against gamers, like people who just want to play video games, who don't care about ideological nonsense, which is going to cause the actual publications attacking the consumer. I mean, we see this done constantly nowadays. Like the gaming press has nothing but this data to discuss towards people who play video games. This normalizes far left ideology. It leads to far left evangelization, and it leads to the far left selling of video games. This is why they don't like anime like Legend of the Shield Hero, because in that anime, the main character faces a villain, which is the embodiment of every negative stereotype that women have. And despite the fact that it's an anime for entertainment and they are fictional characters, it debunks a lot of far left nonsense. It's like, believe all women under any circumstance. All women are always victims. And here you have, in this anime, you have a woman that's of royalty. She's incredibly rich, incredibly powerful, and leverages that power in order to gain advantages in society and blackmails other men and uses men like toys. And they don't like this type of thing because it sells what they consider to be white supremacy, even though the anime is made in Japan, right? But anything that's against far left culture is white supremacy, according to them. They use different words than you and I. Like what they say is white supremacy is completely different than what you understand it to be, right? Like you think of Nazism and shit. They think of capitalism. Like in their opinion, Japan fits into this. So anyway, right, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. And also, I need to do this every now and then. If you do like the channel and you want to support it, there's a link into the pinned comment that will take you to my Subscribe star, and I'll give you some great buyer's remorse in exchange. Take care.